it the Niagara Falls State Park? Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Same right here. So I can like.
There's date?
Huh?
Date.
It's on there.妈，你为什么不要站在那边？妈，你站在那里帮你照啊！站在那里帮你照啊！ Well, I want to get a picture of our my sub before it gets eaten.
Got it?
Sandy, I think it's people taking pictures.
What?
Taking pictures.
She's all red. Parties out there.
Bông hóa kính à?
In case you find out that those will be better than
照我嘛。Never in these things. I want to be in it.
Good. Here, hold this.
What do you mean down there? Is it on?
I don't know.
Is it recording?
It's recording.
I don't see a light.
Well, it says record.
Does it say record?
Yeah, it does.
Down there.
I'll show you do. Can't really see.
Alright, I'm gonna take a picture.
What?
Take a picture.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna pause it now.
有啊。
去那边照比较好。Okay, nice. Sarah, they're going.
Das kann drüben aber nicht nach Hause gehen.
是有船吗？怎么没看到船？
那里不是吗？那你帮我照好不好？那你帮我。
Do you remember this, Dave? Do you remember it? No? You were like 6 years old.
Not the slightest one.
So where are we right now?
The Canadian side of the Niagara Falls. That's the horseshoe fall right there, and that's the Niagara Falls.
And then those are the little boats that we're gonna take later, made of the right? 那个船，对啊，去那边走1000。对啊，我们去坐那个船吗？对啊，去那边走1000。Okay, so here we are at the Maid of the Mist boat ride. And there is the Niagara Falls. Everybody's running. Okay, they have so many ships.
Are you providing your own commentary, huh? Give this mom.
What? Oh. Why you stand there? I'll take a picture.
You know the towers of Niagara Falls could generate it. Well,
啊，有在录吗？
现在有在录吗？
about half
要按下去啊！
electric power generation.
有在录，不要摸。
你手你要扶好哦，不要摔倒了。对，stand back. Stand back.
The electric power from the falls was set a distance of 20 miles, or 32 kilometers to Buffalo. At which is the back, that's what I'm talking about. Dans de puissance que des cheminées et la conduire est égale à 10 millions de puissance en chevaux. Seulement la est utilisée pour la réduction de la puissance électrique.
小心哈，不要。
En fréquemment transporter l'électricité pour une longue distance. Cet événement historique a eu lieu en 1896 quand la puissance électrique de chute a été envoyée à une distance de 20 000, environ 32 km, à Buffalo. We are approaching the Canadian or Horseshoe Falls. This falls is approximately 170 feet or 52 meters high. Its brink is 2,500 feet or 760 meters long. Here, daredevils have made their breaks to fame. The first, in 1901, was a school teacher named Annie Taylor. Originally recorded as 43, Annie Taylor was in reality 63 years old when she went over the falls in a wood barrel and lived. In 1960, an almost unbelievable event occurred. A 7-year-old boy named Roger Woodward was swept into the falls wearing only a bathing suit and a simple life jacket. It was a miracle that he survived. Roger was rescued almost on this very same spot by a Maid of the Mist boat. To the extreme west of the Horseshoe Falls is Terrapin Point, through which passes the international border line between the United States and Canada. The water plunges to a depth of 180 feet, or 55 meters. The water that flows over the falls comes from 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. From there, the water goes down the Niagara River to Lake Ontario, then the St. Lawrence River, and finally the Atlantic Ocean. Just to the right of the falls is the journey behind them.
Woo! Hi here.
Cette chute sur 58 mètres ou 170 km de terre avec une hauteur de 735 500. Les capteurs sont plus cherchés sur l'exploitation. La première, en 1920, avait presque 30 mètres de haut. La haute de 40 ans, quand elle conduit le chute de l'enfer.
Alright, I'm gonna have to shut it off. It's getting too wet out here.
Yes.
What is this place?
Intercontinental Toronto Hotel.
4-star hotel. Very
Right.
nice.
You got it on Priceline. Wall. Stop.
Not just a rollaway bed. It's not supposed to be there.
You can order the picture on the wall.
It's a mirror.
Oh, the bathroom's nice. Got marble walls and stuff. Museum.
This is a dinosaur exhibit.
That's part of the skull.
So dark.
Yeah, I think it's too dark.
What's mom doing?
Putting on makeup.
What's she doing?妈，帮我照好不好？妈，
我为什么要帮你？你叫他照。
These are all the finches. You know, in biology class, we learn about the different types of finches. These are the actual, like, different species. It's pretty cool. It's like history.
That's right. This is the evolution of it.
are the animal exhibits. Mammals.
Mammals?
Yeah. Giant panda. Get the panda.
And this is the Taken. Where are you going? Mom went that way. Let's go to the Chinese stuff.
It's on the third floor.
Are we done?
Cool guns. Crossbows.
Is not the original. The original was also burned down in a series of fires. This is a replica of the boathouse that once was on this island. Looking again to our right hand side, but also pillars come out of the foundation. This are the remains of the Wawanap Boatel and Restaurant. Now a boatel is similar to a hotel, but is a hotel only accessible by boat. Very popular in the early 30s and 40s. Again to our right hand side, this other island coming up is called Stony Crest or Jewel Island. Now this island once housed a 30-room mansion, but due to the expansion of the St. Lawrence Seaway system, 1/3 of this island and the mansion itself had to be blasted away to make the St. Lawrence Seaway wide enough for 2 large ships to pass safely. Now the Seaway Development Corporation had no use for this island. They put up a sealed bid. Winning bid on this island was $77,777, and yes, 77 cents. Thus a lucky number 7. To our left-hand side, this is Key Waiting State Park. This is one of many state parks in New York State, accessible by both car and boat. There's over 200 camping areas, plus an Olympic-style swimming pool. It's also headquarters for all camping areas in New York State. As you see, quite a few campers already moved in for the early weekend. They've been here all week. The Comfort Lodge, if you notice, there's a large white fenced-in area. This is called the Widow's Watch or Widow's Walk. Now, back during the seafaring days, waves of sailors would stand up there waiting for the safe return of their husbands coming up or down the St. Lawrence River. Except from that point, you can actually see 5 miles up or down the river. This one was owned by the Clark family, who owned the Clark Sheet Music Corporation out of Santa Barbara, California. Their family has been in possession of this home for well over 100 years. Same laundry. Now the last home on Comfort Island to the right-hand side is called the Nemob Inn. Now this home is very unique in itself to where this home actually has rooms in it with no square corners. All the corners have been rounded off. Said a very superstitious family, and they never ever wanted the devil to catch them in a corner. This home once sold for $250,000. If that sounded cheap, also a job working in a small hotel in New York City. Started as a busboy, worked as a bellboy, but also a major steward of the small hotel. It was there he met a gentleman named William Waldorf Astor, said to have been the richest man in the world. Said to have done a favor to Mr. Astor. In doing so, he found himself owning the Wall of Astoria in New York City. Now, upon Mr. Astor's demise, George Wolfe found himself owning the Wall of Astoria, the Bellevue Stratford, and the Clover Club in Pennsylvania. At the turn of the century, George Wolfe was making well over $1 million a year. Now, it was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, George Wolfe and his wife Louise. Married her, brought her up this area, fell in love with this area. Wanted to find an island to build a castle on. What better for his very own queen than her very own castle? Looked all around, found this beautiful island see in front of us. It was owned by a gentleman named E.K. Hart, the then Senator of New York State. Mr. Hart was selling this island for the absurd sum of $10,000. Said to be absurd because items were for $500 or $600. But for his queen, money was no object. He merely changed the spelling of Hart from H-A-R-T to H-E-A-R-T and started construction in 1900. Now, instead of George Wolfe spent all this money on his beautiful island, his beautiful castle, he merely had pocket change left to his name. The only thing he could afford to build then was that small little brown building on a little tiny island with that little gray top to our left-hand side for the other love of his life, his mother-in-law. Who they claimed, by the way, was a chronic sleepwalker. No, that's just a nasty rumor. That's called Just Room Enough, owned by the Reverend Seisman family from Ogdensburg, New York. Now, looking off the distance, you'll notice a medieval type building. This is the Boat Yacht House. This is where George Wolfe would have stored all of his yachts. If you notice the doors go all the way to the top, that should never have to lower his mast upon entering and exiting the building on any given time. He also had a special feature that was quite stated after the 1900s. He had to put the smoke remover, they called it. As he bring in his yachts, he burned steam or coal, they would smoke the room out so bad that people were actually getting very sick. So he had something he put on top of the stacks that would actually suck the smoke right to the outside, so we didn't have to worry about any problem with inside the building. Now, the first structure in the castle itself is called the Arch of Honor, said to be a miniature replica of the Arch de Triomphe in Paris, France. This would have been the main welcoming center for all who entered Bolt's castle. The Bolt family would have been there personally greet all oncomers. But seeing the castle was never completed, nobody's ever stepped foot under that arch. Now, the next structure is called the Ulster Tower or the Children's Playhouse. Now, this is the only part of the castle that was ever lived in. The Bolt family lived here while the castle was being built. The first story is the living quarters. The next floor is a game room, a billiard room, a two-lane bowling alley, one for each of the Bolt's children. Down below is a small drama theater complete with stage where the Bolts imported actors and actresses in New York City to entertain the family.
I don't understand to have the whole channel drive by and have to scrape our boat just to come.
Now, the castle itself rises 6 stories high, has 122 rooms, 55 fireplaces. It had an elevator take you up to respective rooms. It has 365 windows in it, one for every day of the year. The first 2 stories is the Bolt's guest suites. The next 2 floors is the Bolt's family suites. Down below, a large dining area and a grand ballroom. Now, the structure you see on the bottom of the rounded windows, that is an in-ground swimming pool. Looking off to the right of the castle, the structure you see there, that is the servants' quarters or trolley car system. Quite elaborate for the turn of the century because you would take your luggage on the Arch of Honor, you'd be met by a trolley car. You'd put your luggage on that, you'd be taken down beneath the castle and up to respected rooms before you got there or even saw it. Actually designed by George Pullman. On top of that would have been the Italian floral gardens. The large tower behind that is a Henry or the Dovecote. This is where the Bolts would have stored all their exotic birds and waterfowl they love so much. Now, the last structure in the castle itself is a pump house, powerhouse, and clock tower. This would have housed 2 coal-fired generators that would serve electricity and water to all of our islands. Now, the last structure is the clock tower. This would have a miniature replica of a Westminster chime that would have chimed 15 minutes in every hour, said to be heard 5 miles up or down the St. Lawrence River. Now, the roof you see in that clock tower is not the original. The original was actually broke down in 1938 upon commemoration of the 1,000-line grid system when a wayward skyrocket landed on top of that tower. Firefighters in smoky confusion tried to save these chimes. They threw it out to what they thought was on hard islands. The next day they returned, there was no sign of them. They know somebody made off with them. They're still lying in the bottom of the St. Lawrence River to this day. Now, as I said, construction started in 1900. In 1904, just 18 months before castle completion, construction workers received a message that simply stated, "Stop all work. Louise has died." Louise Bolt died at the age of 42 from consumption, a form of tuberculosis. A heartbroken George Bolt vowed never to step foot on Hard Island again, and forbid my family to do so either. This castle lay in ruins for 70-some years, subject to vandalism, bother time, and the war efforts. Until in 1977, the Thousand Island Bridge Authority bought this beautiful island and beautiful castle for the sum of $1 US. But it came under 3 stipulations. First off, it can never be used for private and commercial business. Secondly, it must be open for all countries of the world to see. And number 3, any money going into the castle will go direct to the restoration of the castle only. Since then, the Thousand Island Bridge Authority had put in over $14 million into working in this castle. But they claim this castle will never be completed. It'll be only completed at the point where George and Louise last saw the dream on their living days. They claim if George and Louise could never see the dream come true, nobody else should either. Now, had this castle been completed, it would have a heart-shaped seawall around it. 14 structures and architectural bridges, all combined to make one long 2-mile bridge. Now, the part we're going under is called the suspension span. The part to the left you really can't see is called the rainbow arch span. The part way to the left, the Warren Truss span. Three separate types of architectural bridges, all combined to make one long 2-mile bridge. Now, this bridge was up and built in 1937. It's after the stock market crash, the war, the depression. A few things happened to our economy. They said the bridge would take care of the economy and solve our employment problem at the same time. Until they found out where this bridge was going. They said there was no major metropolitan area on this bridge. So therefore, this is a bridge that nobody go on because it goes nowhere. And I guess there's not a lot of nobody still nowhere in the left off because every year 2.5 million vehicles go to the first regular basis. Bridge was finished in 1938. President of the ceremony, William Lyon Mackenzie King, Prime Minister of Canada, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The tower is up 240 feet in the air. It's 150 feet from the roadway to the waterway, 800 feet between the 2 towers. It's not one how to maintain this bridge, it is a toll bridge. $2 per car, $8 per truck. When you put all these bridges together, there are 7 miles of bridge. Now to paint this 7 miles of bridge takes 4 years. Painters have a contract for 4 years. Then when they start on the bridge, paint what's done, when it's all over, go right back to the beginning and start over again. Talk about job security, but the job will never end. Also looking at the left-hand side, you see the gas light and the light light. And the working light is now for the last couple of months. Also, this is the only bridge you're going to find in your lifetime. It costs $2 to go over and $14 to go under. Now to the left-hand side over here is Georgina National Park. So our right-hand side over here is Highland Provincial Park. The difference between the 2 parks is that the provincial park is on the mainland, the national park is on the island. Now looking around the boat, you notice the water is taken on a strange kind of a business pattern, kind of like a floating motion all around our boat. That is because the carriage goes right now is called the Whirlpool Canyon. But this is carriage goes with a body of water heading, it's called Eel Bay. Now Eel Bay is working way down here at a very high rate of speed, hitting a more dormant body of water. If you look at this water is swirl around it, causing whirlpools and eddies all around the coast. Now because this water is so strong, so swift, and so turbulent, it's only 5% dribble. It does not freeze over in the winter. Temperatures in excess of 45 below zero, it still found no ice on this body of water. Okay, at this time we're probably going to answer the most commonly asked question about any of the boat stories besides the electric drive. And that is, how many islands there are in the Thousand Islands? To determine an island must be out of water 365 days out of the year, be 1 foot diameter, with about 1 living tree. Look at here in the top deck, a little show of hands by how many islands you really think there are. Now by a show of hands, how many people think there are less than 1,000 islands in the Thousand Islands? The young man in the back, raise his hand, the young man raise his hand. And that's about it. How many people think there are roughly 1,000 islands in the Thousand Islands? Because this is the Thousand Islands, and that's what it's named for. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many people think there are a lot more than 1,000 islands in the Thousand Islands? Okay. I didn't see the lady over here, didn't raise her hand. The gentleman in the back didn't raise his hand. I didn't see the gentleman here raise his hand. I didn't see you raise your hand. I got a question towards you. How many people you don't care how many islands there are in 1,000 islands? Jim, do you really run from the bottom deck all the way to top deck every day just to raise your hand and say that? Good man. Jim always says that every day. Okay. What they did, they took the National Geographic Society, the United States government, and the Canadian national government all got together. They took up a 3-year survey. It took them 3 years to come up with 3 different answers. All different countries. You didn't expect them to agree anything anyway, would you? They really took this and how many islands there were. Estimated amount of islands in 1,000 islands there is. 1,793 items out of 1,000 items. So they say one of the DJ had to carry a crowd. Why don't they call us the 1,793 items then? They look kind of foolish on 1,000 on a salad dressing, I don't know what. And yes, 1,000 on a salad dressing did originate right from there. It actually started in Clayton, New York. A gentleman named Malone was running the Clayton Inn. Him and his wife had a special salad dressing for the fishing parties they had. They liked it. It was a little secret recipe. A lady showed up. Her name was May Irwin. Now, May Irwin was a renowned actress, and she also wrote a couple cookbooks. Well, she tried this salad dressing. She loved it. Well, she got the recipe for it. She also made this own order up. She gave some to George Bull. George Bull tried this. He liked it so much he took it down to Royal Victoria. And the chef Oscar to it. From there on, they went to a pack. Therefore, the 1,000 salad dressing did originate right from the day. And actually, this comes from George Bull. Very excited. I would say there's a good one. Stand up on the field. Never sit around. The one day we go by, we stand up there. That's the first time I saw him about the stand on my field. And I went by on the I kept it next to me. I was on the stand about it. Today I can say it. As I said up in minutes, Kermit Island must be out of water 365 days out of the year, be 1 foot diameter, and will house one living tree. Coming over here to our left-hand side is the smallest charted island in the 1,000 Islands. It is called Tom Thumb. Well, it looks like old Tom's got 2 trees on it. It doesn't. It has 1 tree and a juniper. But if that tree's ever knocked down, broken, or gone, it's going to out of the water shoal. But believe me, you take that tree off, you found yourself in a lot of trouble. That is a Canadian National Monument. Somebody's actually paid to guide this island. Now, if you don't set a circular sign that knows island with number 15 on it, that is the maximum amount of people that can stand on that island at any given time. No. That's the speed limit kilometers when you go over 40 feet going through this channel. Now, speeding is highly enforced in the St. Lawrence River. You have 3 facts of the law enforcement stand behind a tree, a rock, or anything, and actually radar your boat. Once you get caught speeding, you will first off receive a message on the radio that says, please slow down, you get caught speeding. Within a week, you receive a fine in the mail. This fine is non-negotiable. The fine for speeding on the river is $1,000 per mile you're caught going over the limit. I guarantee if Carson may have had his fine, you, me, and everybody else getting a lot slower these days. I really guarantee it. Coming up to our right-hand side is one of the nicest homes you're going to find there for today. This is called the Opawaka Lodge on Dashwood Island, owned by an R.W. Stonehouse, a retired veterinarian in Toronto, Ontario. This home sold about 4 years ago for $2.5 million. It's up for sale again, this time for $3.5 million. I just had a lady ask me how to get electricity on these islands. Some have generators, some have windmills, some just go it out. For the most part, they have what's called an underwater hydro cable. This cable goes from island to island or mainland to island. Very costly to install. To install this cable, it's $150 per foot. As you go by this one, you see a large sign that says danger hydro cable. They're basically telling you, you come in this area, drop your anchor, pull your anchor up, snap that cable, then you snap your checkbook. It's going to cost you a pretty penny, I promise you that. I just had a lady ask me how they got water. Well, looking around the boat, all you see is water. Getting aboard this boat today, drink Pepsi, ginger ale, coffee, tea, strawberry daiquiri. You drink from the bottom of the St. Lawrence River. Don't get me wrong, if you're sick, this water is filtered. You want to have to get the water? Well, this water was tested at 4 years ago at 95.6% pure. The last test 2 years ago, 99.5% pure. You wonder how the water gets its purity? First off, there is no industry on this body of water to pollute this beautiful waterway. Secondly, the strict no dumping policy. Heavy fine, highly important. Thirdly, the bottom smells shale, limestone, and granite, a self-filtering system. But the main reason why this water is so pure is the inception of the zebra mussels that came here aboard a ship about 14 years ago in the Black Sea. Now, a zebra mussel is a clam-shaped object about the size of my thumbnail. At first, it caused me to make the polyp by an intake to draw support to name it. Then we found out the zebra mussel was allergic to copper. That solved the problem. Now, one zebra mussel will filter out 1 liter of water in a 24-hour period. By the way, my favorite home's from the left-hand side here. Absolutely gorgeous one. One zebra mussel will filter out 1 liter of water in a 24-hour period. One female zebra mussel will lay 30,000 eggs annually. There are literally billions of zebra mussel communities right now. They said the St. Lawrence River in its entirety completely filters itself out every 72 hours. One of the cleanest waterways in the world. Now, the only perceivable problem we have now is the zebra mussels coming from the foldable vaccine or one of the St. Lawrence River, their shells are softening up to find the fish that we're catching. So the fish are the frequent supply. So now we have one of the cleanest waterways in the world. We just got in 5 years on the line. Now, for the children who are going to boat, looking to the right left-hand side, you notice this blue and yellow flotation device in the water. This is something we saw more and more in the tours. What this is, it's an in-water trampoline. You really jump off the dock onto that and spring your way right in the water. There's another blue area beside that. We thought that'd be nice having our hot days of doing Uncle Sam boat tours. Until we found out that's a smaller model right there. That one runs around $700 to $800. The larger models run around $3,000 to $5,000. I'll think of the air mattress for anything anybody. I'm talking about that blue herring and stuff. You wonder what they have for wildlife on these islands. Well, some have small islands have raccoons, your skunks, your squirrels, your chipmunks. Your larger islands, your deer, your fox, your wolves, your bear. In fact, just about a week ago, we're going through the 30th channel. I looked to the right-hand side. Only where that man says, get your binoculars out. I got it out. I thought it was just a bunch of ducks swimming across the line. What if I ever wasn't? What it was, I heard a deer swimming from island. They do swim well. Any animal that can't swim finds themselves walking across the ice, stop their hands until they come back. I didn't believe it till I saw it over there. Like I said, you see the tail on the back mountain and the head crossing. In fact, last year, was the middle of August, it was about 97 degrees. There was actually some sort of percent boat clearing. You ever cross our island, we always have you know, how you saw the head down when you cross the line. Looking to our left-hand side, this group of islands come up is called Smuggler's Cove. Now, they're marked 7 ways in and 7 ways out of these islands. But back in earlier times,
I can never get away from that railing in the back, man. Go back away from that railing.
Back in earlier times, rum runners go through these islands. They would have boat like scotch tied in the back of the boats in crates. Now, as they go through these islands, and authorities would show up, they would go to the back of the boat, take a knife, they'd cut the line, they get away without getting caught. But as authorities kept showing up more and more, they found they had more boat like scotch lying in the bottom of the St. Lawrence River than they're actually transporting. Then they smartened up. They took these crates, filled them half full of scotch, the other half full of rock salt. Still tied in the back of the boat, still running around the islands. As authorities show up, they'd still cut the lines. The only difference was, after 3 days, the rock salt would dissolve. The crates would rise to the top. They would come back, pick up the crates of scotch, and ready to a tour guide joke about, I guess you said they got away. Scotch-free. Now, that's not bad enough. The ones who got caught, though, had a way of solving this problem. They took one bottle out of every case of scotch. So instead of having 24, they have 23. So as he got arrested, as he got convicted, as he went to court, no court in this whole world will ever convict you if you really don't have a case. That is the end of the bad tour guide jokes, I promise you that. We're presently going back to where we were before. I didn't have a lot to say way down there, probably on the way back. This time I'll go on and answer any question anybody might want to have. Along with me, I have something you only get this Uncle Sam tour book. It's a 26-page souvenir booklet showing you everything we saw on the tour today. Some things we haven't seen. We still haven't seen the shortest international footbridge in the world coming up. This is showing you how our islands often save a heart right at the beginning. Telling you the story of the islands, Tom Thumb, the smallest island, the Devil's Oven, the Torres River Pirate, Bill Johnson Hill. Story about the Sam got inception 76 years ago. The picture of the sister ship, the Alexandria Bell. That's one of the questions on the kid's map, too, in case you're wondering. Picture of George and Louise Gold, the story of Gold's Castle. We have a map of the Washington system, map where we're today, and this picture you gotta see it from the way because you don't realize what's going under it, what you're going under. The two Spanish Canadian bridge sections all combined to make one long 2-mile bridge. That's the good Georgia system. Now, you sell this book at $2.50. Along with it, we get the postcard. We can't buy a postcard now at the end of the other castle, no more pictures, that's the booklet. I can't sell it separate, they are sold together it is $2.50. Now, as the crowd gathered, we get small commission on selling the books between these and 6 again during the day, with selling salaries as a tour guide on a regular basis. Also, down on the bottom deck, we have something else to offer. We have a 96-page hardcover photo album. Absolutely glorious book. The gentleman took pictures there for the last 2 years from the aircraft. There, it's beautiful. If you really want to get out this town tour up to the inside. That one sells for $22 on the lower deck. For the most part, I'm selling for $2.50. I've drawn it by a matter of a few minutes. Don't feel obligated to buy a book to ask me a question. If I can answer a question, I will go to the captain. He's been here for the entire 76 years with Uncle Sam Boat Tours. Anyway, when I pick up the tour again, I'm telling you more about the Skull and Bones Society, the shortest international footbridge in the world, the fishing in the area, and their castle procedure. So if you're on the matter, let's start from the top deck and work our way down. Thank you.
Holland home coming up. There's something in the area that we're getting. Something going on in the nation.
Forward,